Good afternoon, everyone. This is Voices from Water Citizen. I'm Cara Lu, host for today. Today, I'm here with Juan on Zoom. So Juan is from Spain and now live in Beijing. And he's friend of my friend, so I didn't know too much about him. So let's find out. Hey, Juan.
Hello, hi.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What about yourself?
I'm good. So it's pretty good day in Shanghai, actually. How's the weather in Beijing?
Yeah, here is fantastic too. Today is excellent weather.
Nice. It's supposed to be a very nice season to travel, right?
Right, correct, yes.
Yeah. So would you like to introduce yourself a bit more?
Yes, so my name is Juan Luis and I'm originally from Spain, but I lived in a total of 5 countries over a decade now. So I came to China for over 6 years now. I was first living in Shanghai, and then I quit my job there to learn Chinese in Guilin and Nanjing, and now I just moved here recently. I moved here last year. I got a job here in Beijing.
Ah, I see. And you mentioned that you stay in Guilin and Nanjing. So
Yes, I learned Chinese there at the university. Yes.
in Guilin, like the southwest. Wow.
Yes, Guilin. Yes.
It's a great pick. It's very famous for their tourism, right?
It's a gorgeous place.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Yeah.
but maybe a little bit too quiet to live there for a year.
I see. Yeah, talking about the traveling and the tourism, I think the pandemic is really influenced or affected this industry, and that make me wonder, like, what did you do? What you've been experienced during this pandemic?
Okay, so when it started getting serious over the Chinese New Year holidays, right? I was at home in Spain for 2 weeks on holidays with my family.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I was a little bit worried to come back because we were all seeing in the news what was going on in China. And in fact, some foreigners were trying to go back to their home countries, right, from
Mm-hmm.
China. But I had to come back here because I had no choice. I asked my boss if I could stay longer back home, but he said no. I
Oh.
work for a Chinese company, so you know, I just had no choice. And actually, when I came back here, we had to work from home for a week,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had to go back to the office. Actually, at that time when we went back to the office, a lot of people were still stuck in their hometowns. A lot of my colleagues, my Chinese colleagues, they were stuck in their hometowns. So at that time, there were not many people at the office, but we had to work wearing a mask and keeping the distance of security. And it was hard because it's in winter, it's freezing in Beijing.
Yeah.
The temperature can be very, very low, like -15, -20. So just imagine we had to work with the window open and no heating because this would help the virus spread. So it was absolutely freezing at the office, and I had to wear the coat and I had to wear the mask. So it was very uncomfortable. It was a very uncomfortable situation to having to work like that.
Yeah.
And
I can imagine that. It must be really freezing.
freezing, really. All the windows open and no heating.
Yeah.
And -15 degrees
Oh my
outside. So
God. Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
And then, aside from that, at that time, like everyone was staying home, like after work or the weekend, everyone would stay home, right? This is what they recommended us to do. So this was it eventually it became tough because, you know, I live by myself, and to spend that long time by oneself is not easy. To be alone every single weekend,
Mm-hmm.
every single day after work.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, it was tough. After a month, it started affecting my mental health a little bit.
Are you okay now?
I'm fine. Yeah, yeah, much better now. Yeah, right after that month and a half, like weather started getting better,
Mm-hmm.
and they also started easing the restrictions because the virus was more and more under control. And you know, in Beijing there were not that many infections anyway, so things started gradually getting better, and now everything is much better, and the weather is, you know, fantastic, which
Mm-hmm.
makes the city change so much. Beijing changes a lot from winter to spring and summer. It changes a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, now we can do many more activities. It's almost back to normal, almost.
Mm-hmm. May I ask you, like, is this pandemic affect your industry a lot, or it's okay?
Uh, uh, so far, not that affected. I work for a hardware company. We make hardware,
Mm-hmm.
and so far it's not been that affected. But we believe the effects of the damage in the economy we are only going to feel over the next few months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes time to feel the effects. For the time being, it's not that bad. Actually, yeah, we noticed a little bit the business down, but it should be fine. We hope we are okay in the long term.
I see, I see. And I do feel like people stay in different region have totally different feelings about this pandemic. For example, you were in Beijing and you will be started work in the office by the January already. But I was in Shanghai. Uh, I was being back to office till February, end of February, and then we started like okay, 1 day in office, 4 day at home, and then 2 day in office, 3 day at home, and then 3 days in office, 2 days at home, and then eventually 4 days, 1 day home, and then back to normal gradually. Like I feel different, and also when I calling my clients in Beijing, I was in event industry, like more for design exhibition, and I do feel the feedbacks or the like you said, the mental status totally different. Like those clients in Shanghai, because gradually it's or Shanghai or Zhejiang area, because it's gradually the risk was lower, then people still gradually pick up the confidence in the market. But at that time, Beijing was in a stricter lockdown, I think, compared to Shanghai. And the clients was tends to be more pessimistic, let's say, not negative, but I can feel like they're worried, and they're not very confident for the market to pick up. Do you feel this way when you are in Beijing? Did you talk to people from other region?
Yeah, you are right. In other regions, yes, I talked to some friends in other places of China, and they were not going under this. They were not going through the same situation. Some people were in their hometowns and they were not even wearing masks because they are very remote areas,
Uh-huh.
and the virus didn't reach there, didn't get there.
Mm-hmm.
And but but actually we only at least my company, I'm not sure about the rest of Beijing, but in my company we only went back to work after a week in at home. So here, at least in my company, it was not that bad. But as I told you, many people were because government also put restrictions for transport, right? So many people could not come back from their hometowns. But because I was here, I could go back to office every day. So I know some people in other places that didn't go back to work for a long time, actually.
And
I
how
don't know if
sorry.
I don't know if this is because they work for foreign companies and the foreign companies were more concerned, or but I know some people in Shanghai who didn't go back to work for
long,
a
long
month.
time.
Yeah. Some people stayed home for 2 months or something, and some people, those who decided to go back to the West, could not come back. Right? They got stuck there because now foreigners are not allowed into China.
Yeah. So, how's the situation of your friends who are outside of China, and what's the situation there, according to your conversation?
I know that some people, they are trying to organize in groups to try to put some pressure to the Chinese government so that they allow them to get in. I know I have some Spanish friends that they are already back in Spain for way too long and they want to come back here, right? They have their jobs here. And I know they created some WeChat groups to try to talk to the Spanish embassy here, so that the embassy somehow talks to the Chinese government and tries to do something. Actually, I know that recently they are also the government already eased these restrictions. Now some foreigners can come back already. Some, not all of them, but some.
Yeah, I think they have some plan, like in certain industry, like gradually,
Right, yes.
like open. Otherwise, if too many people come back in one time, could be, I think it could make the situation even worse, I guess, right?
Right. Yes, this I read the notification. I received an email from the Spanish embassy, and I only had a look briefly, and basically it said that some very important professionals could come back. Some people with some relevant profiles, they could come back.
I see. Okay, let's talk about your mental problem. What is your mental problem during the lockdown?
Well, loneliness
Loneliness.
for too long. Actually, I am used to be alone because, as I said before, I already lived abroad for over a decade in various countries. So if you want to do this, you also have to put up with loneliness, because when you live abroad, you don't always have friends or relatives to be with. You will sometimes be alone. So I'm used to it, but I'm also a human being, and after a month of being at home all the time and then at work only, it started being too tough. And then at the same time, the situation in Spain started getting worse, right? So this also was tough for me to see on the news how, after being myself here for a month and a half, putting up with loneliness and everything, now I had to see how my own country was also collapsing due to the virus. This was also tough. And this was at the end of, at the end of like my 1.5 months of loneliness is when Spain started getting, the situation started getting that dramatic. So I was sick of loneliness, and at the same time I had to read on the news that Spain was also getting affected. How, you know, the hospitals were collapsing and people were dying and everything. So that was tough. But yeah, at that time, yeah, like I things started getting better here. So I started going out and meeting some new people, and the weather started getting better also. So that changes everything.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this, your emotion status and Garvey. Like I do feel like loneliness is supposed to be the nature of human beings, but I actually couldn't imagine because you are alone here in a foreign country, and being like the country was being locked down, and there's inconvenience, and later on you find your own country also get the situation going on, and you must be also worried about your family members or your friends there.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I think I may not even could imagine that. I mean, yeah, and yeah, um, but did you also find something positive out out of this? I mean, say I just want to cheer you up a little bit as well. Like, because when I was in quarantine, I didn't go back to my hometown for Chinese New Year because I actually choose to stay in Shanghai instead. It's not because the traffic that at that time was still going on, but I was worried in case I, I have no symptom, but by mistake I pass to my parents or grandparents. They are, they are in senior, uh, status, and they are more easily to affect and lead to bad consequences. So I actually choose to lock myself down in Shanghai alone. By that time, I I actually the first week is a bit challenge. I just spend time watch movie and I feel I'm totally corrupted myself. And later on, I actually find a lot of things to do by myself, like pick up those hobbies I give up because of the busy work schedule. And later on, even we start to work at home, I found that my work efficiency is actually higher than when I was at the office somehow. And I do try to get along with myself and thinking there's a lot of things to do, and I feel I gain something. I feel like I know myself better. And is there anything you might be also went through?
Yeah, kind of. I agree with you in everything you just said. To me, like, uh, my usual lifestyle is I work from Monday to Friday. I only put my energy into work and maybe learning Chinese, taking some Chinese lessons or something. And then usually the weekend I will go out. I usually don't stay at home over the weekend. I just, go out for food, for drinks, I meet friends, or go to the park. I live right next to the Olympic Park, so I never really stay home over the weekend. And at that time, when the lockdown started taking place, I had no choice, right? So yeah, it helps. It kind of, well, makes you realize when you have no choice, you can do whatever, even if you don't like it, even if you think you are not uh, capable of doing so. Because as I said, because of my lonely life, because I'm alone, because I'm alone here. So at least a weekend, I need to be outside, I need to be with people, meet people, and so on. But that time I had no choice. And this, yeah, it helps you to toughen yourself up, right? And I also took my first online course ever. I had never taken an online course. I know that it's something that it has become very fashionable to take online courses of whatever you are interested in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did that every weekend, and that kept me busy. And I have now a nice certificate
Wow.
from a university to
Uh-huh.
put on my CV. And yeah, that's the positive things from the situation, I suppose.
Uh-huh. What's the course is about?
The course is on artificial intelligence. It's a course that the University of Helsinki in Finland created to teach the population of Finland, and they made it free for their own country people, and then they made it available also for free to anyone in the world.
Uh-huh.
So I learned about artificial intelligence, which is a hot topic, and it was interesting. It helped me a little bit to spend my weekends, my lonely weekends at home.
Wow, that's really nice. Like I do. I actually also take a artificial intelligence courses, but I haven't finished it yet. It's not from the same
Okay.
university. Yeah, but that makes me really appreciate the technology and those people who put a Coursera, the concept in reality. Like it's an
Mhm.
open university, people can share the knowledge, and suppose it's you know it's a way to gain the knowledge in the what should I say? Like there's no border there, right? Like everyone, as long as you live on this planet, you can enjoy this resource. I really appreciate those people, those who in behind for doing this. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. And
Right.
talking about that, uh, I believe you are a strong believer in water citizen, right? That's why Yo-Yo recommend you, I guess.
Absolutely. I am myself a citizen of the world. I'm
Yeah.
I'm 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 not Spanish anymore for a long time, actually.
Uh-huh. So, what is the water citizen in your eyes? How you define it?
In my eyes, world citizen is the ability to seamlessly live and work and love across different cultures
Mm-hmm.
without big issues. And actually, this is not easy because people will usually not like to get out of their comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really can do it, it will pay off. It's an absolutely fantastic experience. As I said before, I lived in a total of 5 countries, and not only that, I have also been continuously crisscrossing the world for work and also for other reasons. And when I compare it to the life in my little hometown in the south of Spain, it's I cannot compare. It's very boring and quiet there.
Uh-huh.
It's I would not have lived these kind of experiences. The world citizen, you can meet lots of people from all around the world and know their stories and have fun together and work together,
Mm-hmm.
change ideas, change anything and everything.
Mm-hmm. I see. And do you have any suggestions for, I believe like when you are living overseas, for example, living in China, it's totally different culture, I guess. And there must be a cultural shock for you. And how you deal with these cultural differences? What's the quality can help you to, cope with these differences and can enjoy?
Yes, the culture in China is completely different. They are like opposites. Western culture and Chinese culture are like opposites, completely opposites almost.
Mhm.
So it's not easy for the foreigners who come here. And to me, at the beginning, I could not really to me, I didn't realize because I first came to China. I came to Shanghai. I went to Shanghai, right? And you know, everything looked like the West,
Mm-hmm.
or even better, right? These high skyscrapers, these Chinese skyscrapers, and all the shopping malls and the restaurants and bars and everything. So you, at the beginning, you don't think it would be that different, but once you scratch a little bit on the surface, you realize it's a completely different world. It's a different universe. And I had cultural problems at the company I was working for because I was working for a Chinese company in Shanghai.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning, I was just not aware of it. I
Mm-hmm.
just thought, what's happening here, you know? But later on, I could figure out it was just a cultural difference.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to cope with it, you need to be flexible. You first need to learn how it works and what it is and what the differences are. And then you also have to be flexible. So I am able to live here. Actually, now I'm again working for a Chinese company.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, yes, you if you are flexible enough, you will manage to do it. I also lived in Germany and in Italy and in UK. Actually, the cultural difference there is not as big, but also you need to adapt. Some people are not comfortable outside of their own country, outside of their hometowns, you know, outside of their comfort zone. Some people will never want to change, but I don't judge that anyway. Everyone is free to do whatever they want with their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it definitely pays off to be a global citizen and to come to such a different place as China, because I I think of it often that I'm very glad I came because I'm getting to know a different world,
Mm-hmm.
not only physically, because it's physically different, right? It's not only that, but you know, the way that people behave and the way the culture works and everything is so different.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I really like your idea about, I think you got those appreciation. Even it's difficult, you still appreciate things, going on, and the thing, and you take time and be patient to embrace it, I guess. And I also think it's quite important when you be aware there might be something different. It might be because of cultural difference. That's, I think, in some way to help us to be more tolerant and to be more flexible, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I read once that uh, yeah, people who work across cultures, they literally become more intelligent. You know, living across cultures, working across cultures, becoming fluent in another language. This
Mhm.
literally makes, you know, it increases your brain plasticity,
The
elasticity.
dimension, yeah.
Yes, this is true actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it will open your mind so much
uh,
if you live abroad, and you will see things
yeah.
you don't you could have never realized before.
Yeah, and also people say learning a language also kind of like developing your brain in some way, because it's also it's more like you used to see a 2D 2D, what's that called, dimension, and now you are
The
3D or
dimension.
maybe 4D,
Yeah, no,
You
absolutely.
have different thinking way and logic behind the culture, I guess. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So it's really enjoyable to talking to you, but since I guess you will be busy as well, and also there's a limited minutes here, so I would love to appreciate your sharing, and let me know whenever you feel lonely. You have a new friend here. Call me, and
Excellent. Okay, I will
we
do.
can,
Sure.
yeah, yeah, and again, I would love to. Um, Yeah, I think your sharing is very inspiring in a way. Like seeing now there's a lot of hatred voices and also a lot of blamings, as well as voices say the globalization might be stopped somehow. Actually, it worries me, but somehow I think we still see the hope. Like if people, if like ordinary people still have the faith for for believing in what a citizen and still willing to learn another new culture and new language, I think things might be getting better, right?
Yes, yes. I don't think globalization can be stopped. Actually, I don't think it can be stopped. It's already unstoppable.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you. And
Yes.
yeah, thank you again, and see you soon.
Thank you, Cara. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
See you.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Bye
You too.
bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.